Welcome back to the Snap Count on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Trai, and this is your quarterback in mind, Mr. Charlie Batch. Sir, I always ask you how you're doing to start the show, but I need to let you know the devil is working on this Monday morning, okay? I
Uh-oh.
started out this day with a nail in my tire, but you know what? The devil can't take away my smile, CB. We are going to have a great week this week. We are going to have a great show today, and that nail, it's just a little setback, a little hurdle that I had to get over this morning. Unfortunately, I had to buy 2 new tires. It happens, you know. I am blessed to be able to get tires when I need them. So I'm gonna take a positive spin on this, CB, and say the devil is not gonna win today. All right. I am gonna start this show out. I get to see my man CB. We get to talk some football. We're gonna have a great day. Devil, you ain't winning today, damn it. All right. CB, what you
I was going to ask that too. Were you able to save the tire? That's the difference probably between $20 and $100,
it
depending on the
is.
tire that you have. And
Yeah.
couldn't tell based off where that nail was at,
That's
was
not a they
whether it
pulled
was in the
that one
thread.
out. I thought it was gonna come out like a little. No, it just kept on coming, kept on coming.
Oh,
It was like
wow.
this long in the tire. So there was no salvaging that tire. So unfortunately, but I did have like the insurance on it where you can they take away some of the costs depending on how much tread is left. So only had to pay 30% of the cost of a new tire. So there's
Okay.
always a positive way you can do about this. How was your day? How was your weekend? What were you up to?
Oh, my weekend was unbelievable, man. We had weather was halfway decent here, so I always like to start my weekend with a nice walk.
Mhm.
And literally, me and my dogs, they know when they get in the car, they know we are going to North Park. And if you know anything about North Park, it's a little bit north of the city for people who aren't from Pittsburgh, but it's a
It's
5 mile loop around the lake.
uh-huh.
And you walk that, there is no cut through. You literally, there might be just a little bit of a cut through that you have that may take away a quarter of a mile. But either way, as you start your walk, you are committed to either a 4.5 or 5 mile walk. I love doing the 5 mile walk. And of course, I went a little extra. So I got 6 miles in
Oh,
over the weekend.
look
So it
at
was
you.
really cool to be able to get out there. And of course, seeing everybody, because right now you're seeing people training and getting ready for the Pittsburgh Marathon, which is the first weekend of May. So guys are in different positions as it relates to their training. So it was always good to see everybody.
I see those pictures and I see that video. The one thing that I noticed, there's no snow on the ground anymore. Is all the snow gone in Pittsburgh? Has it warmed up that much?
Yeah, it's, I'm getting down to my last couple weeks of getting excited about the snow. I'm hoping we have
Mhm.
one more snow day that I have a chance to actually use my snow blower. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case, but this time of year, especially over this weekend, it's supposed to get 75 up here in Pittsburgh. So once we get to that particular point, that's where people around here are just tired of the snow and they want to ultimately go out there and enjoy the weather a little bit.
Some good weather in Pittsburgh. I'm actually surprised. You looked a little disappointed when I said there was no more snow on the ground. I know how much you love your snowblower. It's okay, CB.
It was tough. At some point this day happens where I have to mourn me putting away the snowblower, and it's a ceremony. So of course, I'll take everybody through that process whenever that day happens, and that lets me know that I have to put that up until at least November of this year. So I'm gonna be a little upset when that happens.
It's okay. It's all right, CB. You'll be okay. You'll
But
enjoy that sunshine. I know you're.
so
Do the dogs care whether it's snowing or whether it's do they have a preference?
No, they don't necessarily have a preference. I mean, if it gets to the minus degree when you're adding wind chill in there, then I don't walk them at all. So they get upset. The only thing that they do have issues with is whenever there is salt on the ground and it gets into in between their paws, and that's when they'll
Mhm.
start holding up. Not necessarily because it's cold; it's because the ice is melting in between their paws. So I got to make sure that I have to remove that as quickly as possible because my dogs don't like the little mitts that dogs have. They will kick those things off. So that's not something that my dogs are in favor of are in favor of. But the one thing that I do want to throw out there, and of course, it's a challenge, and this is what
Mhm.
I love to do every time I post. I call it my 480 challenge. And my
Okay.
480 challenge is this: challenge yourself to 2 miles a day walking. Do
Mhm.
this 5 times, 5 times throughout the course of a week. One in the morning, one in the afternoon, evening hours. Takes you no more than maybe 40 minutes of your day to take that type, and then
Mhm.
ultimately you're going to start challenging yourself to get better on your time. So I'm just throwing it out there as a starting point. But also, if you do that 5 days a week, that's 10 miles a week. Add that Do it 4 weeks out of the month. That's 40 miles for the month. You do that consistently throughout, that's 480 miles that you will walk throughout the course of a year when you are challenging yourself. Ultimately, when that competitor starts churning inside of you, you
Mhm.
now will want to now do 2.1, 2.2, ultimately getting to 3, and eventually you'll get to 500 miles throughout the year. That's just my challenge to everybody if they're looking to get started in their fitness journey.
The 480 challenge. See, is that the key to looking as good as you, Mr. Charlie Batch?
Hey, they put us on TV right now, Trey. So you got to make sure we looking halfway decent when we have to put that suit jacket on.
You ain't lying. And I'm in the midst of this weight loss journey myself. My daughter actually hit me up yesterday and I had to tweet this out. She's like, Daddy, once you lose all this weight, how they gonna know you an O lineman? CB, there will be signs. One of the signs is that jacked
explain
up finger
explain
right
to the
there.
people. Explain to the people what we're looking at right now, Trey.
That is CB, my left hand. Okay. And right there is the ring finger. Now, I have multiple stories as to how that finger got the way it did. I tell my wife that there was no way you were going to lock me down and marry me. So I just broke my ring finger so you couldn't put a ring on it. But she got me anyway. But really, in all honesty, CB, I do not know when that happened. I don't know. And it wasn't like I broke it, it was just some kind of ligament damage that I didn't rectify right away. And once it got crooked like that, the doctor told me there's no ligaments in here. Like, look at this finger. I can actually move it and make it look like it's taking a 90-degree angle. You see that?
That's crazy.
But this is just the life of a lineman, man. And I'm sure some receivers are like this too. But if you see one of our former teammates, Kendall Simmons, his fingers
Yeah.
are all jacked up too. And Mr.
Wow.
Max Starks, he has the longest, biggest fingers, and so his make a super long left, right turn. So this is just what happens.
See, if I'm looking at that, I would probably think, just guessing on the outside, will be maybe your finger got caught in a face mask while somebody was moving and it just kind of pull that finger. But again, you sometimes you're under pain medication and ultimately you don't know what hurts until the next day. And that's what most people don't realize, those aches and pains that happen the next day. So I'm sure you didn't notice it at the time, but I'm sure a couple of days later you're wondering why the heck your finger is hurting on that hand.
Yeah, those are the issues we had to deal with back in the day, right? Just all the medicine they used to give us, the bowls of anti-inflammatories that we used to be able to just pick them up and go. I'm glad we got better sports medicine now for these kids. But ironically, that picture was taken by my daughter. I was just sitting down watching TV with her, and she noticed how my finger just wanted to do something of its own, had a mind of its own. So yes, there will be signs. Even when I lose all this weight and I'm looking all sexy like a wide receiver, there will be signs that I was an O lineman, and the
Well,
fingers are the main
I'm
one.
waiting for it. I'm waiting for the day, and I hope you videotape it when one of your daughters literally get to the point of saying, "What direction are you? Do you want me to go, Dad?" And they don't know which finger that they're to look at.
That way, that's exactly what's going to happen one day. All
Dad,
right,
you
man.
told me the refreshment stand was over there.
Let's get to some football, man. The combine was this week up in Indianapolis, man. And CB, what are they feeding these kids? Everybody is fast, everybody is strong. I think this was a record for the fastest by position, each position group this entire year. And so this 2026 NFL draft class, by the way it looked at the combine, there's a lot of talent in there, and there's a lot of folks I think that we can get for the Pittsburgh Steelers that can help us do some things in 2026.
No, I absolutely agree with you. And I think when you look at everything that's unfolding at the combine, hats off to the nutritionists, the strength coaches, all those people at the universities that are getting these guys when they are actually reporting as freshmen and working with them all the way through. So that lets you know the facilities and everything that you're getting at their facilities is top notch, because these guys are playing lights out, body fat, all is down. So these guys look stellar. It's a lot different than whenever I was coming into the league years ago, when you're trying to figure out where you're concentrating and focusing on. But right
Mhm.
now, man, those dietitians, man, they are killing it, because these players are out there. Number one, they're fueled, bodies are chiseled, and ultimately they're putting on their best performances, man. So it's really good to see.
CB, these kids have teams to help them. It was just me, myself, and and you. I'm sure it was just solo. You might have your agent there. You might have your coach who was helping you train. But other than that, we didn't have a nutritionist, a dietitian, a sports medicine guy, a sports dynamic guy, a sports engineer. Kids have everything at their disposal. I'm glad they do. You know, I would like to think that we were the foundation, and the guys that came before us were the foundation for them to be receiving these type of benefits and amenities at this point. But it was still a great sight to see these kids accomplishing some lifelong dreams. Come and a lot of kids getting their moment to shine when they would have otherwise went overlooked. You know, I think the running back, I think Mike, I forgot his name. He ran like a 4.33. Went to a smaller school. The combine is set up for those type of guys that go to the Fresno states, the Northwest Oklahoma states of the world to come in and showcase their skills and be put on a bigger pedestal so that they can showcase their skills for the NFL scouts.
And that's right. And I think when you look at this, there's a lot of positive feedback, but then there's always a couple that people like to kind of joke around with. When I look at the combine, and this is why I don't really watch it and pay attention to it all like that, because it is job interviews. I've
Yeah.
watched these players in games, majority of them, they can play, and now the measurables all come into the equation. But I think the interviews are the piece behind the scenes that are more important than what you're actually doing on the field. That just validates everything that they thought of you heading into the combine. But I challenge this to anybody out there. There's not a lot of people out there in America that could turn around and have millions of people watching your job interview
Hmm.
and then be okay with it and get criticized on social media. A lot of people can't handle that. That takes a lot of mental toughness. And this is just part of the evaluation period where now everything kind of gets knocked down. You're on that pedestal, but again, what is now going to deduct you to maybe lose draft position, but ultimately maybe improve it? So again, a lot of chatter that's out there, but again, there are not a lot of people that can actually be sitting there and somebody watching your interview live and
Hmm.
then dictating what ultimately is going to happen afterward. Very tough task. Credit all those guys who were going up there. They were prepared, and obviously, hopefully, they crushed their workouts and crushed the interview process that they get drafted accordingly.
It was their one shining moment, and we saw quite a few outstanding performances that we'll get to on the other side of this break. Steel City headlines are brought to you by Smart Choice Bass. It's the perfect time to remodel your bathroom. Right now, Smart Choice Bass is giving you $1,250 off your bathroom projects, plus a free luxury upgrade to add comfort and style. And just for Big Play listeners, you'll save an additional 10% on your project. So don't wait. Visit them at smartchoicebass.com or give them a call at 844-GET-SMART to schedule your free consultation today. CB, some outstanding performances at the combine. Lots of records broke. Uh, but before we get into the specifics, I gotta say, a lot of the guys who are projected to get drafted in the top 10, I think four of them are Ohio State guys. Right? I think it's Sonny Styles, Averill Reese, Carnell Tate, and somebody else. But I think Ryan Day gets a really bad rep when it comes to, I don't know what it is with Ohio State fans. I was talking to Ryan, our producer, before this. He gets a really bad rep, and I don't know why. He's always in contention every year, and he obviously knows how to recruit these supreme athletes. But I don't know why guys don't like him. He comes across as folks just aren't fans of Ryan Day. I think he gets a really bad deal.
Well, when you are winning, people are upset. Number one, and then they mistake that for arrogant. And he could come across that way. But again, when you're a confident person, you're always going to teeter on that border of
Mhm.
arrogant and confident. And that's what he has. And when you're able to recruit in the manner that he is, putting a top 10, top five program each and every year, your season is essentially graded on the University of Michigan game. That's
Mhm.
it. Thanksgiving weekend, that's when that game is played. And that's where all eyes are on it. So again, because I was in Michigan for so long as I attended Eastern Michigan University, that other fine institution. But
Mhm.
we always had to hear of the Michigan Ohio State game. And again, when you don't win that game, ultimately your job is on the line. But Ryan Day he lost it last year, ultimately being able to win the national title. These are things that come with the territory. He's used to it. Hats off to him for
Yeah.
continuing to develop his players, because if you're a parent, you're like, this
Yeah.
guy helps get players into the pros.
Ohio State fans are the worst. I think that's the answer, pretty much. I can't stand. I think of all the worst fan bases in the world, I would have to rank them up probably number one, just above the Cowboys fans, and those guys are just above the Alabama Crimson Tide fans. What say you, CB?
Yeah, I'm there, but I would put Michigan fans in there as well. I mean,
Michigan
those
fans
guys,
too? Okay.
yeah, they're loyal up there. I mean, you have 110,000 people. I don't know if you ever experienced that. But man, watching 110,000 people pour into Ann Arbor on a Saturday, man, that is impressive in that stadium. And because I was able to witness it, I did go to one Michigan game when my rookie year, I think it was. We were on a bye week, and actually Michigan played Notre Dame, and to watch them in that stadium, I was like, wow, that's if you're going to play top college football, man, that's one of the places that you want to take a visit to. Number one, and ultimately, hopefully, you get a chance to play in that stadium. But I would put Michigan in that category as well.
Man, forget them too. I don't care about no Michigan
See, there's
Wolverine.
no alliance that I have. You see, I mean, you're a Northwestern guy. You had to play them every single year. I didn't, but
Michigan.
because I went to school with a lot of people who were from Michigan, didn't necessarily get into the University of Michigan. They were still fans of them,
I get it.
and they were the ones that people talked about more than Michigan State.
Yeah, whatever. But I get it. I get it. I understand it. And the big house is pretty cool. I did get a chance to play there a couple of times while at Northwestern. But
I'll tell you one of the cool moments in there. This was at the game that I was there. Michigan fans, they do the wave, right? So just 110,000 people are doing a wave. They did it regular. It went around twice, and then they slowed it down and it went up, and it went around twice.
They did a slow
That
motion
probably
wave?
was the coolest thing that I've
A slow
ever
motion wave.
seen in my life.
I've
And,
never seen a slow
and
motion wave
shortly
before.
after that is whenever I think it was Notre Dame, they kicked a field goal or maybe an extra point, and they took the ball, and the person that caught it in the stands raised his hand, was like, yeah, and the crowd went crazy, yeah. And then he turned around and threw it above his head. So somebody caught it until somebody at the top of the actual stadium caught it. And then he said, yeah. And then he chucked the ball out the stadium. I said, man.
He just chucked it out the stadium?
I started laughing. I said, man, that was hilarious. But to be able to witness that, man, that was a cool experience.
Yeah, I would have. Okay, I can see why you enjoyed that. That would be pretty cool. All right, man. Let's talk about some football for real. I wanted to get your opinion about the quarterbacks that we're going to throw. Obviously, this is a big year for Pittsburgh, specifically for the quarterback position. We do not have a starting quarterback right now. And so I'm sure Omar and Mike McCarthy and the rest of that staff were eyes wide open, ears pinned back when the quarterbacks were throwing. And I think one of the prospects that kind of showed out in a big way due to his athleticism was a kid by the name of Taylor Green, the quarterback for Arkansas. Um, he is a physical specimen. Kind of reminds me of the workout that Anthony Richardson had 2 years ago, where he ran a 4.36, which is the fastest quarterback time ever. He broad jumped 11.2, and I think his vertical was 40 plus. So and he's 6'6. And so we didn't hear much about him coming into the draft, but he's definitely put himself on the map. And so when you see a kid like that, CB, and he has the experience that Anthony Richardson did not have at Florida, he's been a 4-year starter, he's played the game for a while. When you have a kid like that who has the experience and the athletic ability, does it perk your ears up a little bit?
It definitely does. And I think when you look back, and this is where you lean on your scouting department, right? Like, hey, what was your evaluation grade of him heading into the combine? And then you see all these other intangibles going on. Yes, it piques your interest and it makes you pay attention a little bit more. So because of the experience that he had at the combine, it's going to make these guys go back and review the film to say, okay, what did it look like on all of these tapes, and really give him more of a look than what you did coming in. Is he a round one type of guy, instant starter? Depends on kind of what you're looking for at that particular point. But again, most teams aren't going to reach for someone like that. Doesn't mean that he's not going to have a great career. It just means that now you have to work a little bit harder because things aren't going to be given to you. Now you have to earn those reps throughout OTAs and training camp. Did he do enough to make a team? Absolutely, he would. Now he becomes a project, and ultimately he has to fit into the right system before they throw him on the field.
Yeah, a lot of experience. Would start out at Boise State for 3 years and then went on to Arkansas this last year. I mean, his numbers don't jump off the page. And ultimately, when I asked you the would you rather last week, would you rather see a combine performance that's off the charts, or would you watch film? Which one of those would you hold more stock in? And you said film. By the looks of it, and I haven't watched a whole bunch of it, he has pedestrian stats as far as when it comes to quarterback. He has a positive touchdown to interception ratio. This past year, 19 touchdowns to 11 interceptions, 2,700 passing yards. But that Arkansas offense is run based, and he's a big part of the run game as well, obviously, with that athletic ability. So he's an interesting prospect. Now, coming into this in the quarterbacks, we knew Mendoza, who is the projected overall number one from Indiana, wasn't going to throw. What is your opinion on quarterbacks who go into the draft, especially a guy like Mendoza, who's projected to go number one, waiting to pro day to throw and not throwing at the combine? How do you feel?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. And I know, people will try to put that pressure on him, whether it's peer pressure, whether that peer pressure coming from the organization to try to get him to go out there and compete. But again, you have to now have conversation with your team internally to say what's best for us. Can I go
Mhm.
out there and prove that I belong number one? Sure, absolutely. But again, there's nothing to gain at this particular point. So medical and the interviews are going to be the ones that are going to take precedence on anything else. If I'm Mendoza, selfishly, I want to throw at home because I'm familiar with the environment, but also maybe there's a guy on your team, a receiver, tight end, running back, or maybe there's somebody else on the defensive side that plays other positions that they need looks. And because he comes in knowing that the demand is going to bring all of the attention from the media, all the
Mhm.
scouts are going to be there, maybe that opens it up for your other teammates. And everything that I saw from him thus far, he is a team first guy. And I'm sure that played into the equation as it relates to why he wanted to wait to make sure his boys and his teammates are highlighted in that particular manner as well.
And he has a couple of draft eligible wide receivers that are going to be looking to move up in the draft charts, and Omar Cooper Jr. and Elijah Sarrett, who played wide receiver for the Hoosiers last year, who are entering the draft this year. So those three are going to be throwing and catching at their pro day. Um, but there were quite a few intriguing wide receivers, and we know we need a legit number two or a Robin to um, DK's Batman. And so I want to ask you which one you found more impressive after we come back from this break.
The Big Play Sports Network is brought to you by Garage Beer. No bitterness, no frills, no IPA, just beer flavored beer. Find local retailers who sell garage beer near you by visiting drinkgaragebeer.com.
Every year, CB, at least the last 5 years, the one position that seems to be deeper than most and the one that seems to provide the most NFL ready players is wide receiver. And it seems to be happening these last 4 years. This year is no exception. A couple of outstanding pass catchers that have entered the draft this year. And there are four that are probably definitely going to be drafted in the first round. I know amongst all the positions, quarterback probably being number one as far as needs are concerned, although there might not be a draft ready quarterback at 21 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The other need, obviously, is wide receivers. So we got four wide receivers in the first round. If we take a wide receiver in the first round, CB, which one of these four would you like? You got Carnell Tate coming out of Ohio State, got Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State, Makai Lemon out of USC, and Denzel Boston out of Washington. Which one intrigues you the most?
To me, it's going to be Jordan. And I think that when you look at what he's doing down at Arizona State, it's the fact that you're coached by Hines Ward. You know, this guy, borderline Hall of Fame, should be in the Hall of Fame as
Yes, he
far as our
should.
opinions, but ultimately he's still knocking on that door. But when you look at everything that he's done throughout his career, yes, he can block. He prided himself with that, but he worked on his route tree. And when you look at that, he did it more on steps and making sure you're getting your depth to where you're allowing
Mhm.
you to come back to the football if need be. I've seen this guy do this when he was playing. He did it. He worked with Santonio Holmes, the Nate Washingtons, the Mike Wallace's, all of these guys that were there. Obviously, AB came in, but more of a special teams player at this young age. But Hines worked with those guys, the Emmanuel Sanders, all of those guys, and now he's taking it to the collegiate level. So when I'm looking at everything that comes along with it, that I think that could potentially be ready to a day one starter, I think that could possibly be Jordan.
I can't say I disagree. Now, Carnell Tate, who I'm a big fan of, because he's a very smooth route runner. I like him. He's played opposite of what's the kid's name that everybody's talking about at Ohio State? Jeremiah Smith. He was getting all the hype, Jeremiah Smith, but Carnell Tate was the one producing. And obviously the coaches see that. Mekhi Lemon had a great time at USC and Denzel at Washington. But I agree with you. Jordan Tyson at Arizona State, when you get a coach like Hines Ward, who made his career not because he was the fastest, not because he was the tallest, and not because he was the biggest. He made it strictly on intangibles, knowing the position forwards and backwards. Nobody knows it like Hines Ward. He made a niche for himself. They made rules in the NFL because of Hines Ward. And when you're getting coached by that guy, one, you know he's going to be a blocker. You know Jordan Tyson's going to come in willing to block, and you know Mike McCarthy's going to want that because we need to have a run-heavy offense. And so he gives you that type of intangible. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, good size wide receiver. He's going to bring you those intangibles that Hines Ward made his career on with the Steelers. So I'm very intrigued about what Jordan Tyson can do in this draft. And I think he can come in and start right away.
I agree with you there. And that's the beauty of it, because you know Hines is going to break that film down and say, okay, here's what I want you to do for your assignment, but I also want you to understand why I'm teaching you this in this particular manner. Get your eyes upfield, understand linebackers, understand safeties, who's coming down. And if you can get that mental game and get an edge on that, that now you can run your route a split second faster because you can anticipate where those windows are going to be. That was something that Hines prided himself on, and ultimately he's relaying that information to his young receivers. That's why I look at Jordan as being that guy that the Steelers could target if for whatever reason they stay at the pick that they're at. But ultimately, this is going to be something that you know is a need because DK needs somebody on the other side.
Amen. Well, the NFLPA report cards are here, CB. There was a team that came in first, and there was a team that came in last. And we'll talk about the team that came in last on the other side of this break. Look at the NFLPA had their own trench report just come out recently, CB. And unfortunately for us Steelers, we ended up dead last. Now, we talked about it a little bit last week. The NFL was fighting hard not to have this released. It is a stain on a lot of teams, on the NFL as a whole. And I can see why they wouldn't want those opinions to get out there. But when you're looking at the big old fat F that the Steelers got, you kind of understand why they did. And we experienced it up close and personal, CB. So we know, even though things have changed, a lot of them haven't. And that is why they have an F. So as we go down each category, the very first category, which was actually kind of surprising for me, is the treatment of families was an F, CB. I didn't get that vibe when we were there, but maybe things have changed, but that's kind of sad right there.
It is. I was shocked when I saw that because the Steelers pride themselves on being a family-friendly environment. And unfortunately, I don't know all the barriers that comes along with making that decision, but it has to do something with game day. It's things that we don't see or whatever stories that are being told from family. So again, that was surprising. And again, that was shocking to me.
Yeah. The next one is not the field. Now, we've had issues all the way back to when we played. It's just not conceivable, and I don't understand why things haven't changed. But having two high-level teams, having an NFL team and a college team play on the same field, oftentimes the same weekend, it's not going to be a good field. It just can't put up with that much stress over time. And they still do the WPO state championships on there too, right?
Yes, they do.
So this field gets all kinds of wear and tear, and there's no ground crew on earth that can keep up with the amount of action that this field gets. So it's deservingly gets an F minus.
Yeah, I can understand that frustration because even before the games were played, they had a joint scrimmage at the stadium. But before they got to week one with Pitt, it looked bad. And you're like, I was like, there's no way that this is going to hold up until November, typically when they do replace the field. And ultimately it was tore up from the beginning. This was a year like no other. And unfortunately, it's going to continue to be a stain when you now have all of the Pitt games, the Steeler games, and high school football played on this field, this is going to be something that will continue to be talked about, because I don't see multiple stadiums being built in Pittsburgh for Pitt or for just the Steelers. It's probably still going to be a blended stadium for years to come.
It's just not enough space. Just the topography of Pittsburgh does not lend itself for a quick turnaround when it comes to stadiums. It's just with the rivers and the bridges, and it just doesn't have the space. I'm sure it's an engineering nightmare trying to build a stadium in that area. But looking at the rest of the category, Ryan, can you pop that up, my man? Thank you. The dining area, B-, nutritionist, dietitian. We were just talking about that for the combine. That's a B. So that's good. They're eating good, at least, Looking at the locker room, CB is an F-2. We know we made the best out of that locker room, but it just does not have the amenities when you look at their peers. When you go to other stadiums and other teams' facilities, their locker room blows ours out the water. It is not even close.
Yeah, it definitely does. And this is the same locker room essentially when I entered into that locker room in 2002. There's just not enough spaces. And I think ultimately, when you look back based off where you were up until the expansion of the roster, you used to be able to handle it, right? You had 53, then you had just the 6 or 7 on the practice squad. There were only 60 players that were in the room, and you only had to deal with that uncomfortableness of the OTAs when you expanded from 53 to 75. Then you broke for camp, broke back, and went back into the locker room. Unfortunately, the locker room is still the same size. You're not able to expand it, and that's going to continue to be issues. A lot of these guys who are entering into that locker room right now come from colleges that their locker rooms was a daggone resort compared to what you're seeing now. And I think the one thing, and I know there were some media members that were laughing about, why does locker rooms and the stalls have anything to do with winning? It's working conditions. And these are the only way you get better, when you actually get graded and you hear from your peers as far as what's going on. And people talk about the 5 bathrooms. Let's just use this offseason when everybody comes in there. There's 90 players that are there. And five stalls for those players. That's 1 for every 18 players. So you better not have beans that day, because now people are looking and asking you to hurry up, please, because they actually have to use the bathroom. And it's unfortunate, because even if you get out of the locker room, just in the building, you essentially have 3 additional bathrooms that you have that people can use. And I'm not even counting the coach's locker room, because that's off limits. I've been around 24 years and I've never been in the coach's locker room. So that space is off limits. You're talking about just what's available to you in that building. They know they're running out of space. They're going to use this particular grade to say, hey guys, we told you that we have outdated facilities. We need help. So when they start talking to the city of Pittsburgh as it relates to what they need to continue to grow operations in the same manner that everybody else around the league is, they're going to use this report card and they're going to say, we told you that we needed changes. The players are speaking now. What are we going to do to rectify this?
Get some more stalls, Pittsburgh Steelers. Get some more damn stalls. Okay. Dude, there's some stories about when I played, all the stalls were always like, whenever everybody was in the locker room at the same time, in between meetings, in between meals or whatever, there was never a free stall. Somebody was jockeying for position to get into those free stalls, those 5 stalls. And if they weren't getting those, somebody raced upstairs to get the 2 that were upstairs. And so sometimes all 7 were taken. It was a couple of times, CB, I had to walk around just hand on ass trying to keep everything in, because I had to go so bad and did not have an open stall. So Pittsburgh, please get some more bathroom stalls. These are basic essentials. And this is a different type of athlete. Granted, the 5 stalls is an issue. How old the locker room is an issue, but just the priorities for these athletes are different than what they were for us, right, CB? You can go to Pittsburgh and players wouldn't care as much about the amenities, because you knew you were coming to Pittsburgh for football. Your focus was you were singularly focused, and they made it so that you didn't have a lot of frills, so that it felt more old school, more grimy, you're more in tune with the sport of football, with the city of Pittsburgh, and not so much about the flash of being an NFL player. You're not getting pampered, so to speak. And so that's getting old. You can't do that anymore. And these athletes aren't responding to those type of things anymore. And so you got to upgrade the locker room, simply put.
You have to, but unfortunately, there's not a lot of space. I'm sure they're actively looking at locations. But again, what is superficial for them to now say, hey, it's worth the move. But again, this is a conversation that we're going to have. This is not going to end anytime soon because they haven't broke ground on anywhere else. So again, from the moment they break out, it's probably going to take 2 years for them to build. And right now, we're still going to talk about this for years to come because they have not announced anything as it relates to what potential plans are going to look like. So I would envision this for at least 3 to 4 more years as it relates to grades that you're seeing right now.
It's important. I mean, we spent a good portion of this conversation talking about the locker room alone. That is, for all intents and purposes, your second home, right? You bring so much stuff there. You bring all your toiletries there. You bring pictures of your family in your locker room. You are there just as much, if not more so, than you are at home when the season is going on. And so you want to be comfortable in that space. Pittsburgh has to pick up their game when it comes to that. So you understand why that's an F-. Looking at the rest of the report card, training staff, weight room, strength coaches, position coaches, offense coordinator, all Bs, which is good. Not great, but good. About what you would see for a team that just gets into the playoff and loses in the first round. You don't see any A's other than special teams coordinator and head coach Danny Smith and Mike Tomlin. The 2 A's, and you could tell, who do we talk about the most during the season as far as position coaches are concerned? Danny Smith and all that damn gum he was chewing did an amazing job with that group. Players love him. They speak glowingly of him. And you see the same thing when it comes to Coach Tomlin and how hurt everybody was when he retired. Those are the only 2 A's on the team, and you know it, and you see exactly why that is. It has shown itself throughout the season, throughout the years of those 2 guys deserving the A, but the other stuff needs to get rectified, and you completely see why the Steelers are 32 out of 32 teams.
And I think when I look at it, the other thing that stands out to me is the F and team travel. And I know they've been trying to get better at this experience. It's one thing, they treat you well. You go through the FBO, you get on that actual plane. But again, if this is all you know, do you think this is how you travel? But if you've been to other places, they use different planes. There's first class seats that are available for the oversized players that are there because the standard seats just don't work. You're sitting there bumping your knees, especially the further you get in the back. And it's worse during the preseason. I get a chance to travel during the preseason and we're stuck way back in there in the back. And I'm sitting back there sometimes with Max and I'm uncomfortable at 6'2". I can only imagine someone at 6'8" and Max's size. And again, when you're media side, you got to get the seat that they're providing you. At least when you're playing, they try to work with you and get you to the first class seat so you're a little bit more comfortable. But when you're on the media side, again, that's how you operate. That's how you travel. We don't have, we don't have, any type of skin in the game as it relates to that. These players do. And those are the surprises because you just see F in travel. I'm just like, okay, what else are you expecting when you talk about the travel experience? But again, who's voting? We don't know. Is it the college guys that may have chartered planes that has different spaces, back then that are bringing this to the NFL? We don't know. But ultimately, that's concerning because of the amount of time that you're traveling and you're on the road in the professional league.
You know what it is, though? They don't got a Trey Essex bringing Jersey Mike subs on the plane, handing them out to everybody like Santa. That's what I did. I took pride in making sure my teammates were fed before he jumped on that plane. Were you privy to the Jersey Mike subs that I brought on?
Of course.
Okay.
You always took care of your quarterbacks. You might not have put that in the order, but you always ordered a couple extra subs just in case you missed somebody. And as you walk past, I was like, "Oh, yeah, Troy, you got me." You start passing them out like you were like on a relay team. Give me that, give me that baton.
Here's your chicken. Here's your Philly. But that was a perfect segue because our media team hit it again. We have a little game, a little meme that I want to see. Who would you rather sit next to on the plane while we're traveling 10 hours to an away game? Our social media team came up with a meme, and we'll show it to the rest of the Snap Count fans and the rest of the country after this break. Tell you what, our social media team over at Big Play do a great job with these memes and these graphics, and they hit it out the park again with another one I thought was very interesting. And you kind of segued perfectly into it, talking about the team travel. Who would you rather sit next to in this arrangement, in this seating chart of former players and current players? A couple of them are current. And for those who are listening, wherever you listen to your podcast, I shall read them out. In the first row, we have Ben and Joey, and there's a middle seat available. In the second row, we have Chase and Juju, and there's a window seat available. Third row, Jack Lambert and James Harrison, middle seat available. Fourth row, Cam and TJ with the middle seat available. This is on the left side of the aisle. On the right side, we have Coach Tomlin and Chuck Noll with the window seat available. George Pickens and AB with a middle seat available. Kenny and Mason with the aisle seat, the only aisle seat that's available. So you got to take that into account. And then one more middle seat in between JB himself, the bus, and Mr. Hines Ward. Mr. CB, which one of these seats would you like to sit in?
Man, this is a tough one for me. I mean, obviously, I know all the players that are there. Offensively, yeah, I would love to sit in 8 talking about those guys, but I probably did spend a lot of times with those guys throughout the course of the week anyway, catching up on things. I probably would pick seat number 1 between Joey Porter and Ben Roethlisberger, talking about the game plan, but ultimately being the mediator between those two, trying to make sure that those guys aren't going yip yapping back and forth. Bring it on in, guys. Bring it on in. Let's have a hug. I'm saying all of this without knowing whether those two was able to rectify everything, which I'm sure they did. But we won't know that behind the scenes. But again, I probably will pick there because there's going to be some great stories that are going to be told along on that team trip.
I'll tell you what, when I look at this seating chart, number 4 is probably going to be the most rambunctious, without a doubt. Number 5, you're not going to want to bump elbows with either one of them. You don't know what kind of mood Debo or Mr. Jack Lambert is in. So if you're in the middle seat, you ain't trying to make yourself any bigger. You're going to stay real skinny in that seat, right? I'm with you. I think I'm going to go number 1. I'm going to put Ben in this headlock right here. I'm going to put Joey, Mr. Peasy in the headlock. And I'm like, y'all need to get along, boys. Y'all need to come on and get along. We all one big family. We all we got, right? And so, yeah, I think I'll do number 1. And then if not number 1, I'm doing number 8 because I know what? Wody is going to go to sleep. JB is going to put his headphones on and go to sleep. And you know what? I'm going to go to sleep too. I'm going to be in the middle. They ain't going to care too much. They know I'm a lineman. They're going to make sure that I have my proper space. They might even lift up the armrest a little bit to make sure these hips can breathe a little bit, CB, because I got these childbearing hips. They need some room. And so I think Wody and JB might hook me up right there. So,
but that is a cool seat to be a part of because that actually is where the guys play cards at. So there's a lot of stories that get told in that particular range between Hines and Jerome. Joey will probably move up a little bit. This is where the switch of seats typically occur mid-flight, so guys can actually play cards on the flight. But the least seat that I would want to sit on, and to your point, is number 5. I would not want to sit between Jack Lambert and James Harrison, not because they're not good people. It's the fact that I don't want to sit the entire flight with my arms on my knees because I know I'm not going to get any armrests because they're going to be sitting there both like this.
Yep.
I don't want that smoke on the airplane. There's absolutely nowhere for me to go. And I have nobody to complain because there's probably nobody going to help us get me out of that particular argument.
Nobody gonna care. Ain't nobody going to switch seats with you, TV. You're going to ask the stewardess, hey, I would like to switch seats, sir. That's all we got.
I probably would, to be honest with you, I probably would have to move every once in a while anyway to allow Jack Lambert to get up and probably do some push-ups in the middle of the aisle because Debo's probably challenging him to do some push-ups. So it'll be an uncomfortable seat either way because I'm going to have to keep getting up because those guys are going to be trying to figure out whose arms are looking right.
I tell you, number 2, though, they're going to drop some knowledge on you. You're going to learn a lot about football. You sit number 2 in the window seat, ear hustling the conversation between Chuck Noll and Mike Tomlin. Oh, that would be awesome to hear, right?
Absolutely. You'd be like a sponge absorbing it all because there's not much that you have to say because of all of the knowledge that those two and that experience that those two provide.
Amen. That was good, though. That was good stuff by our social media team. Well done. We'll be back with some big play bets after this. Big play bets are brought to you by FanDuel. College basketball is nonstop, big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger wins with college basketball parlay profit boost. Here's how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like. The early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, the late night West Coast shootout. Mix spreads, totals, props, whatever fits your read of the slate. Then just apply your profit boost and instantly bump up that potential payout. Go safe, go spicy, go with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to fanduel.com/big play to get started. FanDuel, play your game.
Must be 21 plus and present in select states. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable boost builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET.
Right now, there's plenty of basketball betting going on as March Madness is rounding out. We're going to have Selection Sunday here pretty soon. For the rest of the Snap Count fans and Big Play, we have a March Madness bracket of Steelers Great. Make sure you guys tune in for our March, I think it's 16th, 2 weeks from today, that show to go through our March Madness bracket to pick your favorite or the best Steeler of all time. But for today, we're just going to pick some division winners for the 2026 NFL season. On the NFC side, we did the AFC last week, starting with the NFC North. The Chicago Bears won it this past year. Will they repeat, or will Detroit have something to say about that, CB?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, as much as I want to pick Detroit, I need to see what they're going to do in this offseason. You saw, obviously, the trade that just happened here today, but with the running back to Houston. So I think, when you look back at everything that's going on, I think it's Chicago's. They're the favorite at this particular point. I think they're retooled, and I think you'll have rejuvenated Caleb Williams because obviously whatever the way that his season ended, he had a spectacular season, but he's looking to rebound on that. So I'm going with the Bears in the NFC North.
Yeah, I agree. I think Caleb in the second year in his Ben Johnson offense is going to be scary for the NFC North. I think he's going to be even better than how he ended the season, which was pretty damn good. So I agree with you. NFC South, I think it came down to Carolina and Tampa, and through some weird tiebreaker that Atlanta beat Tampa Bay at the end of the year in order for Carolina to take the Atlanta had to beat the Saints in order for Carolina to be the division champions, even though they lost to Tampa earlier. That it was weird, some weird setup. Anyway,
it was that three-way tiebreaker that confused everybody.
Right. So
either way, it allowed Carolina for the home game.
Carolina got the home game. Carolina got the playoff berth. This division has a new winner every single year. It seems to be the doormat as far as divisions are concerned in the NFL. But the way that the Saints ended last year with that young quarterback, Tyler Schaff, really playing some good ball, I think I'm going to take the Saints to win an NFC South next year. What do you?
Yeah, I'm going with the Buccaneers. I'm going on the experience of Baker Mayfield. I think they're going to regroup. We don't know what's going to happen with Mike Evans, but if he leaves via free agency, I think ultimately they're going to replenish that receiver group. And I think Baker Mayfield is going to have Tampa Bay back, and I think they win the NFC South this year.
All right, NFC West, definitely the best division in football last year. 3 playoff teams. The Super Bowl champion came out of the NFC West, the Seattle Seahawks. They look like if they can get Kendall Walker back, and they got Sam Darnold there, and they got JSN. I think Seattle is probably going to take the NFC West again, although I think the Rams are primed right there, as well as the 49ers. It's a very tough division to pick a winner. So I'm just going to lean with the Seattle Seahawks, but I'm not overly confident in that pick.
Yeah, this one here is the toughest division right now. And I think when you look at, they have 3 solid teams that ultimately could win this. And it's going to be, again, an important offseason for these guys. But I think ultimately, where we sit here today, I think I'm going with the Rams because they were on the doorstep of knocking off the Seahawks, fell short. I think they regroup, and I think that gets them back on top of that NFC West.
Last but not least, the NFC East. I got a surprise for you in this one, CB. I am picking the New York Football Giants to win the division. I think John Harbaugh's going to come in and solidify that group. They have so much talent on the defensive side of the ball, and they got that trio. If they come back healthy, and Jackson Dart, Scatterboo, and Neighbors, that is a very young and potentially dangerous trio on offense. but I think they will hang their hat in their defense behind Dexter Lawrence and that crew. And I think they end up winning the division.
I like the surprise pick that you have there. And I'm sure people listening to this probably are expecting me to go with the favorites. And I'm not. I'm going with a surprising Washington Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
I like where Jaden Daniels is at. The last year he was hindered by injuries, but now getting back to the point, retooling him, because this is the year that they have to do it. Go all in the offseason with free agency because you still have Jaden on a rookie contract. I think Washington does that, and I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. Washington comes out of the NFC East.
Nice. All right. Make sure you subscribe to Big Play Pittsburgh on YouTube. Follow us at the Snap Count Show on X and listen to us wherever you get your podcast. CB, another great episode. Speaking of subscriptions and YouTube, I think we're over 5,500 subscribers already. We were trying to get to 10K by the draft. Earlier, we were thinking about 10K by the season, but guys apparently like what we had to say. So keep on subscribing, keep on listening. We love it. We're going to keep on giving it to you every Monday at 7 p.m. CB, I'll see you next week. Here we go.
I appreciate it. Thank you all for listening. Keep hitting that subscribe button as we are looking to continue to grow our audience. And we can't do this without you. So we just want to say thank you to everyone involved.
Amen. Here we go.